Welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins. Today, we're taking a closer look at a coin that's caused quite a stir online, the 1981 P. Washington Quarter. Some say it's just another everyday coin, worth 25 cents like any other. But others claim it could be worth as much as $1.6 million. That's right. A simple quarter from 1981 supposedly worth more than a luxury home. So what's the truth? Could a 1981 P quarter really be worth that much money? What makes this coin special, and how can you tell if you have one of the rare ones? By the end of this video, you'll know the real story behind the 1981 P. Washington Quarter, what to look for, and whether the million-dollar hype is fact or fiction. Let's start with the basics. The Washington Quarter has been part of American coinage since 1932. It was introduced to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, and the design, showing Washington's profile on the front and a bald eagle on the reverse, remained largely unchanged for decades. In 1981, this classic design was still in place. The P Mint mark on a 1981 quarter means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That year, over 600 million quarters were minted in Philadelphia alone. So right away, we know this coin is not rare in terms of production numbers. It was mass-produced for everyday use. You could find them in your change, at the grocery store, in vending machines. They were everywhere. So why are people saying the 1981 P quarter is worth $1.6 million? The answer comes down to a mix of truth, myth, and viral internet hype. Let's break it down. First, there are coins from various years, including 1981, that have become valuable due to rare mint errors or high-grade condition. That part is true. Some coins from this year have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars when they meet certain criteria. But the idea that a 1981 P quarter is worth over $1 million is an exaggerated claim that's been circulating online, often without any real evidence or auction history to back it up. Most of the time, these claims start with someone saying something like, "Check your change. This 1981 P quarter just sold for $1.6 million. But if you try to trace the source, you'll usually hit a dead end. No public auction house has ever recorded a 1981 P quarter selling for that amount. Not PCGS, not Heritage Auctions, not any major numismatic authority. What could make a 1981 P quarter valuable? There are two main things to look for: high-grade condition and rare mint errors. Let's talk about condition first. Coin collectors grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70. This is known as the Sheldon scale. A coin graded MS65 and above is considered mint state, meaning it hasn't been in circulation and has very few, if any, flaws. Most 1981 P quarters in circulation have seen heavy use. They're scratched, worn, and far from mint condition. But once in a while, someone finds a 1981 P quarter that's been preserved in pristine shape, maybe pulled from a mint set, maybe kept in storage by a collector. A 1981 P quarter graded MS66 or MS67 can be worth a lot more than face value. We're talking anywhere from $50 to a few $100s, and in rare cases, even more if the demand is high and the coin is particularly attractive. These coins are usually submitted to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, sealed in tamper-proof holders, and sold at coin shows or online auctions. Now let's talk about errors. This is where things can get really interesting. During the minting process, mistakes can happen. A planchet might be clipped, a die might crack, or a coin might be struck off-center. Some of these mint errors are considered valuable because they are so unusual and rare. A double die error, for example, can cause the lettering or numbers on a coin to appear doubled. These types of coins can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the severity of the error and the overall condition. There have been some reports of 1981 P quarters with possible double die obverse, off-center strikes, and die cracks. These types of errors can increase a coin's value significantly, especially if they are authenticated and graded by experts. But again, even with a major error, a coin would have to be extremely rare and in flawless condition to ever come close to the million-dollar mark. So back to the big question. Could your 1981 P quarter be worth $1.6 million? The honest answer is probably not. There is no confirmed record of any 1981 P quarter selling for anything close to that amount. Most of them are still worth 25 cents, maybe slightly more if they're in good shape. However, if your coin has a rare error or is in uncirculated mint condition, it could absolutely be worth holding on to, and maybe even submitting for grading. Coin collecting is full of surprises. Every now and then, someone really does find a rare coin in their change worth thousands of dollars. But those stories usually involve specific conditions, rare errors, and authenticated provenance. Not just a regular coin found in a cup holder. So here's what you should do if you have a 1981 P quarter and you're curious about its value. First, look closely at the condition. Is it clean? Does it still have its original luster? Are there no major scratches or dents? Next, check for anything unusual. Look at the lettering, the numbers, the edges. Is anything misaligned, doubled, or missing? If you see anything strange, or if the coin looks unusually well preserved, consider getting it professionally graded. Even if it's not worth $1 million, it could still be worth more than face value. And who knows, the process of checking your coins might even spark a new hobby. Coin collecting isn't just about chasing money. It's about history, discovery, and the fun of the hunt. So, while the 1981 P quarter may not make you a millionaire overnight, it's still a coin worth paying attention to, especially if you enjoy the thrill of searching for hidden gems in the most unexpected places. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more coin stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next big discovery. Drop a comment below and let me know what rare coins you've found, or if you've got a 1981 P quarter sitting in your collection. Until next time, keep checking your change, keep learning, and keep collecting. That if you'd like a version of this broken into visual scenes, with suggested images, B-roll ideas, or formatted for a teleprompter or podcast narration, just let me know. Welcome back to the channel. Rarest Coins. Today we're diving into one of the most legendary and misunderstood coins in American pocket change. It's the Washington quarter from the year 1965. Now, if you've seen any of the viral stories going around online, you've probably heard something wild. Some people are claiming this coin, a 25-cent piece from 1965, could be worth as much as $1.8 million. That's right, just one quarter. But is it true? Could a coin you might have in your junk drawer actually make you a millionaire? In this video, we're going to break down everything you need to know about the 1965 Washington quarter. We'll explore its history, the major changes that happened that year, what makes certain 1965 quarters valuable, and of course, whether or not that insane million-dollar claim holds any weight. Let's get into it. First, a little history. Up until 1964, quarters in the United States were made of 90% silver. These silver coins had intrinsic value not just as currency, but for their metal content. But by the early 1960s, the price of silver was rising, and the U.S. Mint faced a real problem. People were hoarding coins for their silver content. That meant fewer coins in circulation, which made everyday transactions harder for everyone. In 1965, a major change happened. The U.S. Mint removed all silver from quarters. The new 1965 quarter was made with a copper core and a nickel outer layer. This clad composition became the standard we still use today. And here's the kicker. The Mint made number 1965 quarters in silver for circulation. That's why collectors pay so much attention to this specific year. To make the transition smoother and discourage hoarding, the Mint also made a strategic decision. They didn't put any mint marks on coins in 1965. That means whether a quarter was made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, none of them carried a mint mark. It was a way to prevent collectors from separating coins by mint and hoarding specific ones. So if you have a 1965 quarter with no mint mark, that's completely normal. Now let's talk numbers. The U.S. Mint produced over 1.8 billion quarters in 1965. That's billion with a B. So right away, we know the regular 1965 quarter is not rare. In fact, it's one of the most common coins from that era. If you've got a worn 1965 quarter in your pocket right now, it's likely worth only face value, 25 cents. But that's not the whole story. Because despite the high mintage, there are some 1965 quarters that are worth real money. Some have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And in extremely rare cases, there are stories of one very special version, a 1965 quarter struck on a silver planchet that has sold for tens of thousands of dollars. That's the real origin of the million-dollar myth. Let me explain. When the mint transitioned from silver to clad coins, a few silver planchets, those are the blank discs used to strike coins, were accidentally left in the machinery. A small number of 1,965 quarters were struck on 90% silver planchets left over from 1964. These are extremely rare and highly collectible. If you find one, you're not holding a typical quarter, you're holding a major mint error. So how do you tell if your 1965 quarter is one of those silver errors? Here's what to look for. First, weigh the coin. A standard clad 1965 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter, on the other hand, weighs about 6.25 grams. That small difference can be enough to tell if you might have a silver planchet error. You'll need a precise digital scale to check this. If your 1965 quarter weighs closer to 6.25 grams, get it checked out by a professional grading service immediately. Next, look at the coin's edge. Modern clad quarters have a visible copper line along the edge, but silver quarters don't. If your 1965 quarter has a solid silver-looking edge with no copper strip, that's another major clue. Again, it doesn't guarantee anything, but it's enough to warrant a closer inspection. Now, what about that $1.8 million story? Has a 1965 quarter ever sold for that much? The truth is, number 1965 Washington quarter has ever sold for $1.8 million in any public or private auction. That number is part of a viral internet rumor. What really happened is that some rare error coins, including 1965 silver planchet errors, have sold for impressive amounts. One example sold for over $7,000. Another brought in more than $12,000 at auction. These are significant numbers, but still nowhere near the million-dollar mark. So where does the $1.8 million claim come from? Most likely, it's a mix of clickbait and misinterpretation. Websites and videos looking to get attention will throw out huge numbers, hoping to go viral. They take a rare coin that's sold for thousands and suggest there might be one worth millions, even if no such coin has ever been verified. Now, let's be clear. If a 1965 quarter were ever discovered in pristine, uncirculated condition, struck on a silver planchet, and certified by a major grading company, it could fetch a massive price. But even then, reaching $1.8 million would require a perfect storm, one-of-a-kind error, museum-level quality, and multiple wealthy collectors bidding against each other. As of now, no such sale has happened. So what's the takeaway? Your average 1965 Washington quarter is common and worth face value. But some rare exceptions, especially silver planchet errors, can be worth thousands. And that's why it pays to check your change. Look closely at your coins. Weigh them. Examine the edges. If something feels off, you might just have something rare. And even if you don't strike gold, or silver in this case, the fun of the hunt is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. Every coin has a story. Every date tells a part of American history. And every now and then, a tiny detail can turn a common coin into a collector's dream. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more videos like this, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a coin that could be hiding in your pocket right now. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and who knows, maybe the next coin you find will be your big discovery. Let me know if you'd like this script tailored for a specific video length, formatted for a teleprompter, or split into chapters for editing and YouTube SEO optimization. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in recent times. It's not gold, it's not silver, it's not even ancient. It's a simple quarter, but not just any quarter. We're talking about the 1984 D. Washington quarter. And if you've seen the headlines and the hype online, you've probably heard that one of these coins is supposedly worth as much as $1.4 million. Sounds insane, right? But what's the truth behind this viral coin story? Could you really have $1 million coin hiding in your spare change? In this video, we're breaking down the full history, value, and the facts behind the 1984 D quarter and whether or not it could be worth a fortune. Let's start with a little bit of background. The Washington quarter has been part of American coinage since 1932. It was originally released to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design we all know today, with Washington's profile on the front and the eagle on the back, was created by sculptor John Flanagan. That design remained largely unchanged until the state quarters program kicked off in 1999. That now fast forward to 1984. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 546 million Washington quarters. That's a staggering number. These coins were made for everyday use, meant to be spent at vending machines, parking meters, grocery stores, and everywhere in between. So just by production numbers alone, the 1984 D Washington quarter is not rare. It's one of the more common coins from the 1980s. But even with such high mintage, that doesn't mean every coin is the same. Some coins end up being much more valuable due to certain factors, and that's where things get interesting. So what makes any coin valuable? The short answer is condition, rarity, and sometimes mint errors. Let's break that down. First is condition. Coin collectors use a grading scale from 1 to 70 to rate the condition of coins. This is called the Sheldon scale. A coin graded 70 is a perfect coin, flawless under magnification. Most coins in your pocket change would grade somewhere between 10 and 40. If you have a 1984 D quarter that's in mint state, meaning it's uncirculated and still has its original luster, then it could already be worth more than face value. Mint state coins, especially those graded MS 65 and above, can sell for anywhere from $20 to a few $100s depending on the market and the demand. An MS 67 example could sell for over $300. That's already a nice surprise for a 25-cent coin, but we're still a long way from 1.4 million. So now, let's talk about mint errors. These are mistakes that happen during the coin production process. Some examples include double die strikes, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and missing elements like a mint mark. These errors are what sometimes push a coin's value into the thousands. With the 1984 D quarter, there are a few known varieties and errors that collectors look for. One of the more well-known is a possible double die on the obverse, where the lettering might appear doubled. These coins are rare, and if authenticated and graded, they can fetch a few hundred to maybe a few $1,000s depending on the severity of the doubling and the condition of the coin. But even then, we're still not touching the $1 million mark. So where did the idea of a $1.4 million quarter even come from? It turns out that a lot of websites and social media pages have started making exaggerated claims about coin values to grab attention. You've probably seen the posts that say, "Check your pockets for this quarter, it could be worth over $1 million." These headlines are designed to go viral. And in most cases, they take a small truth, like a coin selling for a few thousand due to a rare error, and blow it up into something massive with no evidence. As of today, there is no verified sale of a 1984 D Washington quarter for $1.4 million. Not at any auction, not in any private sale, and not in any coin grading registry. It simply hasn't happened. But here's the thing. That doesn't mean your quarter is worthless. A standard circulated 1984 D quarter might be worth just 25 cents. But if it's in great condition, or if it has a rare error, it could still be worth a nice amount. And more importantly, it can be a gateway into coin collecting, which is an incredibly fascinating and rewarding hobby. Every coin has a story, even the ones that seem common. They pass through hands, across states, through decades. They carry history. So if you have a 1984 D quarter, take a moment to really look at it. Check the details. See if the edges are clean. Look at the lettering for any signs of doubling. Inspect the strike and the mint mark. If you think you've got something unique, consider getting it looked at by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. It might cost a bit, but if the coin is in mint state or has a significant error, it could be worth the investment. To wrap it all up, the 1984 D Washington quarter is not a rare coin by mintage, and no, it's not worth $1.4 million under normal circumstances. That number is part of a viral myth, not a documented sale. But that doesn't mean your quarter can't be valuable. High-grade coins and rare errors can still fetch impressive prices. So check your change. Stay curious. And if nothing else, enjoy the process of discovering the history hiding in your pocket. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into coins, currency, and collecting. Drop a comment below and let me know what coins you found recently. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to discover a coin that really is worth a fortune. See you in the next one. Let me know if you'd like a version of this script split into visual segments for video editing, or if you'd like to add a call to action with affiliate links or coin-related promotions. Welcome to the channel, where today we uncover the truth behind one of the most talked about coins in recent years. We're diving into a coin you may have in your pocket, your piggy bank, or tucked away in a drawer. It's the 1982 P. Washington Quarter. Now, if you've spent any time online scrolling through social media, you've probably seen the wild claims that this ordinary-looking quarter could be worth as much as $1.5 million. That's right, one coin, just 25 cents on its face, supposedly turning people into millionaires overnight. But is that even possible? Is the 1982 P quarter really worth over $1 million? Or is this just another viral coin hoax designed to grab your attention? In this video, we're going to walk through the full history of the 1982 P. Washington Quarter, what makes it special, what gives it real value, and what you should look for if you think you might have a rare one. By the end, you'll know exactly what your 1982 P. Quarter is really worth, and you'll be able to separate fact from fiction. Let's start with the basics. The Washington Quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It features the first president of the United States, George Washington, on the obverse, and for decades it displayed the familiar eagle design on the reverse. The 1982 version is part of that long-running series. But something unique was happening in the early 1980s that makes coins from this period stand out. In 1982, the United States Mint made a big change. For the first time since 1965, the Mint decided not to produce uncirculated mint sets for collectors. That's right. In 1982 and 1983, no official U.S. mint sets were sold to the public. That means almost all 1982 P quarters entered circulation directly and were used in everyday transactions. As a result, finding these coins in pristine, uncirculated condition is surprisingly difficult today. Now let's focus on the 1982 P specifically. The P stands for the Philadelphia Mint. In that year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 500 million quarters. So by the numbers alone, the 1982 P is not rare. However, due to the lack of mint sets and the quality of the strike, finding one in high-grade condition, meaning no wear, full luster, and sharp details, is very uncommon. And here's another twist. Some 1982 P quarters were struck with what's known as a weak or missing mint mark. There are also examples with poor quality dies that produced coins with soft or fuzzy design details. These flaws, combined with the difficulty of finding high-grade versions, make this coin especially interesting to collectors. So how much is a 1982 P quarter worth today? If you've got a regular, circulated version, the answer is simple, about 25 cents. That's right. Most of these coins are only worth face value. Even lightly worn examples won't bring in much unless they show something unusual. But here's where the story starts to heat up. If you happen to have a 1982 P quarter in mint state, especially graded MS65 or higher by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, you could be looking at a much more valuable coin. Some of these coins have sold for $100, $300, or even more at auction. An MS67 example can sell for several $100s, sometimes pushing close to $1,000. Now you're probably wondering, what about the $1.5 million claim? Is that even remotely true? Let's set the record straight. There is no confirmed, documented, or authenticated sale of a 1982 P. Washington Quarter for $1.5 million. Not at heritage auctions, not through PCGS, not in any numismatic registry. That figure is a complete myth. It's a viral rumor, likely started by websites or social media accounts that want attention. They take the story of a valuable coin, like one sold for $800 or even $1,200, and exaggerate it wildly, throwing in numbers like 1 million or 1.5 million just to get clicks. And the truth is, it works. People get curious. They start checking their change. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with hunting for valuable coins, in fact, it's a great hobby. It's important to be grounded in reality. If a coin did sell for over $1 million, you'd see it all over the numismatic news. Major auction houses would report it. Coin grading services would publish the results. And so far, none of that has happened with the 1982 P quarter, but let's not dismiss this coin entirely. There are a few very real reasons collectors are chasing high-quality 1982 P quarters today. One reason is the absence of mint sets, which means fewer well-preserved examples. Another is the difficulty in finding this coin with a strong strike and full details. A third reason is the presence of minor die varieties and errors that can increase the value significantly. For example, some 1982 quarters have been found with double die errors or weak details due to worn-out dies. These types of coins can be worth far more than face value, especially if authenticated. And then there are the so-called transitional errors, coins struck on the wrong planchet or with the wrong design features. While not confirmed for this exact coin, it's always worth checking for unusual traits that set your coin apart from the rest. What should you do if you have a 1982 P quarter? First, check the condition. If it's shiny, has no visible wear, and looks like it just came out of the mint, you may have something worth grading. Next, look closely at the mint mark. Is it weak? Missing? Is the strike soft? Does the coin show any unusual features, like doubling in the letters or numbers? These are signs you could have a valuable error coin that if you believe you have a high grade or error example, consider sending it to a professional grading company. They can authenticate and grade your coin, and you'll get a certified value range based on the market. Wrap it all up. The 1982 P Washington quarter is a fascinating coin with an unusual backstory. It's not rare by mintage, but finding one in high-grade condition is tough. And while there's no million-dollar version confirmed, some have sold for impressive amounts due to condition and rarity. Just be cautious of wild claims online. Most 1982 P quarters are worth face value, but with the right features and the right grade, yours could be worth much more. So check your change. Take a closer look, because you never know what treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a 1982 P quarter or any other coin that surprised you in value. Until next time, keep collecting and stay curious. If you want, I can provide a version split into YouTube chapters or one optimized for voiceover with scene descriptions and suggested visuals. Let me know how you want to use this. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a coin that has captured a lot of attention online lately, the 1983 P Washington quarter. Now, some of you might have heard the wild claims floating around the internet that this coin could be worth up to $1.3 million. That's right, a single quarter, the kind you might find in your spare change or sitting in a drawer, supposedly worth a life-changing amount of money. But is there any truth to it? Could you really have a 1983 P quarter that's worth over $1 million? Or is this just another internet myth? In this video, we're going to break it all down. We'll go over the real history of the 1983 P Washington quarter, what makes some of them valuable, what the average one is worth, and where this million-dollar rumor comes from. And most importantly, we'll explain exactly what you need to look for if you want to know whether your 1983 P quarter is just 25 cents, or possibly something much more valuable. Let's get started with a little background. The Washington quarter has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1932. It was originally introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design by John Flanagan featured Washington's profile on the front and an eagle with outstretched wings on the back. That classic design stuck around for decades, including the 1983 issue. Now in 1983, something important was happening in the coin world. Just like in 1982, the U.S. Mint did not produce uncirculated mint sets for collectors that year. That might not sound like a big deal, but it meant that there were far fewer high-quality, uncirculated examples of coins like the 1983 P quarter available. Most 1983 quarters went straight into circulation and were used heavily. They were tossed in pockets, dropped in parking meters, and passed through vending machines. As a result, finding a 1983 P quarter in excellent condition today is surprisingly difficult. The P mint mark stands for the Philadelphia Mint, and in 1983, Philadelphia produced over 673 million quarters. So yes, this coin is common by mintage. But again, that doesn't mean it can't be valuable. What makes some of these coins worth big money? There are two big factors that can make any coin valuable: condition and errors. Let's talk about condition first. Because the 1983 P quarter was not included in mint sets, almost all of them saw circulation. That means they got scratched, worn, and damaged over time. So when a collector comes across a 1983 P quarter that is in mint state, we're talking uncirculated, with sharp details and full original luster. That coin is suddenly in demand. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to rate coins. A 1983 P quarter graded MS65 or higher can sell for decent money. MS66 or MS67 examples are even rarer and can command several $100s at auction. One top-grade 1983 P quarter even sold for over $1,000 due to its condition alone. But still, we're not anywhere near $1.3 million. So where does the real value come in? This is where it gets interesting. There is a known mint error for the 1983 P quarter that has turned heads in the collecting community. It's known as the 1983 P Spitting Eagle variety. This error shows what looks like a line or raised die crack extending from the eagle's beak on the reverse side of the coin. It literally looks like the eagle is spitting. While it may sound a little funny, this die variety is actually highly sought after by collectors. Now keep in mind, the Spitting Eagle variety isn't a 1 in a billion error. It's a known die break that happened during production, and examples are still out there in circulation. But the value of this coin really depends on condition. A well-worn Spitting Eagle quarter might sell for 20 or 30 bucks, while a high-grade mint state example could fetch hundreds. And if it's graded MS66 or higher, you could be looking at over $1,000 for just one coin. So now, let's come back to the viral claim. The idea that a 1983 P Washington quarter sold for $1.3 million. Here's the truth. There is no verified sale of any 1983 P quarter selling for that amount. Not at any major coin auction. Not through any grading service. Not in the numismatic community. That number, 1.3 million, most likely started from a social media post or clickbait article that exaggerated or misunderstood a real coin sale. Maybe someone saw a 1983 error coin sell for a few $1,000s and added a couple extra zeros to make the headline more exciting. But there is no evidence, no record, and no historical sale that supports a $1.3 million price tag on a 1983 P quarter. But does that mean your 1983 P quarter is worthless? Not at all. In average circulated condition, it's worth face value, 25 cents. But if you find one in high grade, or if you find the Spitting Eagle variety in strong condition, you could absolutely be looking at a coin worth 50, 100, or even several $100s. And that's a pretty good return for something you might have found in your change.so. Here's what to look for if you want to check your own 1983 P quarter. First, check the condition. Is the coin clean, sharp, and free of scratches or wear? Look for original shine and no visible damage. Second, flip the coin over and look closely at the eagle, right around the beak. See if there's a raised line or crack that makes it look like the eagle is spitting. That's the famous Spitting Eagle variety. If you see it, and the coin is in good condition, you might have something worth grading. Finally, if you think your coin is a candidate for grading, send it into a professional service like PCGS or NGC. They'll verify it, assign it a grade, and seal it in a protective case. Once it's graded, you can either keep it as part of your collection or sell it at auction or online. To wrap this up, the 1983 P Washington quarter is not rare in terms of how many were made. But high-grade examples and specific errors like the Spitting Eagle variety can definitely be worth collecting and worth money. Just don't fall for the hype. There's no million-dollar version of this coin on record, at least not yet. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be checking your change. Because the real fun of coin collecting is that you never know what you'll find. Sometimes it's a small error. Sometimes it's a rare variety. And sometimes it's just the joy of holding a piece of history in your hands. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into coins, currency, and collecting. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever found a rare coin in your change? Maybe you've got a 1983 P quarter in your stash right now. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, every coin has a story. If you'd like this adapted for use with B-roll visuals, split into YouTube chapters, or formatted for a teleprompter, just let me know.